And so, you know, in giving certainly the benefit of the doubt to one's own testimony, and Darby was certainly not known to be a liar. Now, I know that, you know, it's kind of like today's politics where, you know, George W. Bush and Sarah Palin and people like that, certain people build a parallel universe for these people and make a, you know, build a character that doesn't exist. Mm-hmm. You know, that said that they didn't know where Africa was, or they could see Russia from their front porch. You know, these are things that these people never said, and they become, you know, believed because of the media and stuff like that. And that's basically the same kind of misstatement that you have going on, you know, in this area as well. And one of the reasons that pre-tribbers have not gotten into defending our historical roots is because we were too busy teaching the Bible. The pre-trib rapture movement is a Bible study movement. And even George Ladd and people that oppose us admit this, that it was the greatest Bible study movement in Europe in the 1800s that this came out of. And it's because they didn't set out to study even eschatology. They just started studying the Bible inductively and the whole Bible, and out of it came dispensationalism because they had to put it all together, and out came pre-tribulationism and these other things. And the same is true in the United States about 50 years later. The post-Civil War Bible study movement that began as evidenced through the Niagara conferences and these other conferences, which produced Bible colleges and seminaries like Dallas Theological Seminary, were Bible study movements. And because we taught the whole Bible verse by verse, we had to deal with eschatology, which is about, you know, almost 30% of the Bible. And so it's out of that framework that our overall movement came. And now we're seeing in the postmodern context a move away from Bible study. In other words, away from inductive Bible study to hot flash big ideas that they want to impose on the text. And in other words, that's called idealism, and that's what you always get when you move away from an inductive approach to the Bible. Is you get, I like to call them hot flash big ideas. In other words, our idealism that comes, and so many ideas are reactions to what your parents taught, and your parents, you know, got saved through reading the late great Planet Earth and all that stuff, and so we're not going to believe like mom and dad. And you know, there's some of that going on, you know, just a reaction to what mom and dad believed, or you know, the older generation, because they're going to do something new and all this kind of stuff. And if you're going to get too new, you're going to end up in apostasy. Any other questions or comments? Okay.
I was just wondering, kind of a postscript comment, and sort of asking you too, being in Manchester. My observations in Britain is that among the brethren, Plymouth Brethren today, as we call them Plymouth Brethren, it's about 50% that still hold to Darbyism. Would you agree with me? And what is your observation as to why so many brethren churches have turned away from the clearly dispensational view?
I don't know. My background is not brethren. I've been invited this year to several brethren conferences, and they've been very much proclaiming the dispensationalist message, the pre-trib rapture in particular. I think, just to give a more broad and general answer, the church in Britain is in great decline. It's not just the brethren. be it the Pentecostals or the Baptists or whoever, we're in a desperate, desperate state. And those who hold a pre-trib position are in an increasingly small minority. We are a small church, but we are quite unique. There are not many churches where everybody believes in the pre-trib rapture of the church, of the bride of Christ. And so we get tremendous opposition. As small and as insignificant as we are, we get tremendous opposition. The majority view within the pro-Israel, if you like, camp is post-tribulationism. That we are the ones who are going to bring Israel through. We're going to stand against Antichrist. We've got to persevere, and only those who persevere to the end will be saved. And I could tell you some horror stories of what senior evangelical leaders are teaching in Britain today. So I think that the decline in Brethrenism is just a symptom of a much broader decline in the state of the church, full stop. But we're praying. We feel that maybe the Lord is beginning to stir and provoke, again, getting the brethren to think back to their roots, where they came from, what it was that the Lord commissioned them to do back in the early 19th century in particular. So it's difficult times, but that's what the Scripture says. It will be difficult. I'm sorry I can't give you any more specific than that regarding the brethren.